What's Gucci, guys? So we are back, okay? I was sick for probably around a week. I had no voice. I had to communicate with everybody through like papers and shit. More importantly, not being able to yell. Anger, excitement, you can't do it. There's nothing. There's no yelling. Because once you yell, you know how when you're sick and you have no voice or like very weak voice, you start yelling and then it's like deaf. Like your voice just goes deaf. It doesn't reach that certain note, and that's what happens. But for all that, we are back. Today we'll be discussing the OSHRA dichotomies: rational, irrational, extraversion versus introversion, logical versus ethical, and intuitive versus sensing. Also, with a little bonus called Constructivist versus Emotivist. So let's start with rational versus irrational. Now, this is a dichotomy which actually is one of the easier ones to understand. Irrational types tend to be more impulsive. Their movements, their emotions, their actions, what they do is much more impulsive than what and the movements and actions and emotions of the rational type. Simple the fuck as. That's already the beginning. That's all you need. That's the secret sauce. Simple. Actions and the movements of this irrational type are basically a consequence of a feeling or a current mental state. So let's use an example. Irrational type gets angry. They immediately do something about it. This is like an impulse. Irrational types' actions are motivated by what they feel in the moment. Anger, boredom, joy, sleepiness, whatever it is, either a feeling or a mental state that the individual is currently in. If irrational types are more impulsive, the rational types will be more deliberate. They respond in more thought out and more reasonable fashion. In a sense, they don't need to warm up before acting. Right? Before responding to something. Their actions and their responses are based on experience. The rational type does something, then they have the emotion. They have those mental states and feelings after an action. So their actions are not as motivated by what they feel in the moment, rather what they think they have to do. If an irrational type feels boredom, they will immediately try to find a way to remove this feeling, to get over this feeling. When the rational type feels boredom, they might think of why they might feel that way. And they utilize the past more to analyze it and to understand it and to overcome it. Now let's proceed to the logical versus ethical. Logical types doubt their social rights and also their emotional impact. They don't know how they're perceived or whether they even deserve emotional closeness. Ethical types, on the other hand, doubt their objective value. They can feel helpless when dealing with the objective world, systematic world, pragmatic world, their capabilities, their abilities. And they look for others for support. A logical type tries to do everything on their own. They prove that other people need them through actions. Look what I have done. Give me the acceptance and credit I deserve. The ethical type isn't this way. They feel that other people need them. They know how to build relationships. They know how to regulate relationships, how to regulate the emotional landscape, feelings, attitudes, whatever it might be. The ethical type does not doubt their right to people. They are constantly struggling with the objective world. The logical types can seem more independent. It's a cosplay. It's a cosplay. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to people, humans, whatever the fuck, the ethical types are actually the ones who are independent. Now, the logical types, of course, might solve issues, pragmatic problems, problem solve, anything that is systematic difficulties, anything that is to do with the objective world, that is how they might show that they are independent. They will be independent in those areas. They will not need you. They will not need to look for support or even doubt themselves. With the ethical type, it's this independence is in a human factor. It's in a human relationships. Because they're the ones who can dictate relations. They can understand feelings of others, regulate relationships, attitudes, whatever. A logical type should be comfortable in evaluating and assessing other people's workflow, people's activity, people's actions, people's logic. They should be able to do that and also to explain those things to people. With ethical type, they should be able to assess the kindness, feelings, attitudes of other people. Now, what an ethical type cannot do is to assess their own workflow, their own activity. in the same way that the logical type can do. So that's why they're struggling. So human relationships should not be an issue for the ethical type. It's for some ethical types, it's a playground. You do whatever you want with no fucks to give. But the systematic, objective world is the one you can be more cautious. It's the one you're struggling. You look for others that you can gain support from in that realm. That is how an ethical type would be. Logical types don't know how to talk about their feelings. They avoid it. If they love someone, it's not about saying, I love you, I feel this, I feel that, I appreciate. No. It's stating, it's through action, it's through activity. Their feeling clearly makes them do something for you. Their feeling makes them act in a way that shows that they care and they love. But they're not gonna go out and speak it and whatever. There are some people who have those fantasies. I want the Sigma male. I want the Sigma male. But I also want him to tell me how much he loves me. He tells me everything. But he's a logical type and he has autism. Well, what the f*** do you expect? You think you can fucking want anything, everything? What the f***? You didn't want a Sigma Cobra logical type who can fucking do shit, who can tell you shit. He's not gonna tell you he loves you, and then you're gonna complain he doesn't tell you he loves you. Make up your fucking mind. Make up your fucking mind. Ethical types, on the other hand, they don't hide their feelings. Okay, ethical types do not hide their feelings. They are open with their feelings when it comes to love, when it comes to hatred. In ethical types, we often hear this term, is normative. We know that now, obviously, we circle jerk it the f*** out on the daily. It means it doesn't create anything new. So yes, it's like the fucking geek who is following formulas because that's what the fucking author says. They're not playing with it. They're not creating anything new. There's no invention. Ethical types don't invent logic. They can be logical because they stick to logical norms. So in that way, they are logical. Now, ethics and a logical type are normative. They follow the rules and the standards, but they're not emotionally creative. Think about a person who's been raised to have a certain moral compass. Their morals and their beliefs of how people should behave, how they should do, what they should be like, is based on a religious code, based on religion, based on whatever societal cultural standards. That's what they adopt. That's pretty much the extent of their followed code, followed morals. And FI ego, FI creative might disregard it, completely be like, I don't give a fuck about those rules. I don't give a fuck about those morals, those codes, because I have my own completely contradict those. And that's fine, because that's the true independence of the ethical type in the realm of ethics. Same way as a logical type can go along, be like, listen, I don't give a fuck about those little correlations. I'm going to make my own. I'm going to play with this logic because that is what a logical type should be able to do. They f around with it. They're independent with it. Now let's talk about sensation versus intuition. Now, sensing types, they experience life richly through sounds, touch, taste, and sound. So this is very basic. They tend to be sure of their attractiveness, of their health, their comfort. They rely on more that personal, sensational experience rather than just following, what is given by others or the external world. The sensing types are tactical. They deal with immediate challenges, optimize what is currently available. So when we talk about the concept of strategic and tactical, what is it? If I think tactical, I think of a game like checkers. Checkers is a quick-paced game. You need quick reactions. You need to react in the moment. You cannot wait. You cannot waste time. It is about making the best decision in front of you. There's nothing else that matters, right? The best decision that is right in front of you based with what you currently have, because that's the given. You've been given this. So what can you do with this? And that's tactical. Strategic is when we think of something like chess. It's not about the best move now. The best move now doesn't matter. It's about, let me consider everything and the potentialities and how it might develop into the future, 10 steps ahead, 20 steps ahead, to be able to predict and strategize. That's the difference. So sensing types tend to follow their own sensory judgments. A doctor's opinion must match their own experience, or they will seek a second one. And I guess this makes sense because for me personally, I'm a sensing type. And for me, if any theory or anything says something, if I experience it, I see it, I observe it, and it's completely fucking contradictory, I don't give a who wrote it. If Jesus himself went down and wrote it, I don't give a because clearly someone goofed. Clearly someone made a mistake. Clearly what is being said is incorrect, because it doesn't match what the fuck we experience, what we observe, or right? Our own experience. It doesn't match it. Something that should be visible in the external world, objective external world. It's not visible. So if it contradicts what the fuck is seen, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter what geek, who the fuck wrote it, it doesn't matter, it's wrong. When it comes to intuition, they feel more detached from their surroundings and their body. They are more interested and concerned with abstract possibilities, the future, hidden meanings, than the current sensorical world. They feel uncertain about their physical needs, about their comfort, about their appearance, or even health. They defer to external authorities, external sources to help them. Now, do you know why, and do you wonder why people said that sexual 3 is not a sensing type? Because they use this dichotomy to explain it. Because how can a sensing type that's supposed to be so confident in their appearance and their, right? Now they should not circle jerk the fuck out on the daily with such insecurity and coping. Clearly it's an intuitive type, because intuitive types try to match the authority, the external authority, what looks good, what doesn't. That's the true intuitive type. Not only a geek, not only a virgin, but also a virgin that's scared of being ugly, which is, it's a stereotype. It's a fucking stereotype, but it's real. And Oshra made it real. We can thank Oshra. Sensing type is tactical, the intuitive type is strategic. They focus on long-term goals, the big picture, what might be rather than what is. They have normative aesthetics. They try to fit aesthetics or health standards. They are unsure of their own personal preferences unless guided by a sensoric partner. Now, the best example of this is the ESI-LIE duality, because that's what this is. LIE fits this code very well, because it's what does an ESI do for the LIE? Dress him, tell him he ain't ugly, tell him he ain't deformed, right? Buy shit for him, like buy fucking clothes, tell him this looks better on here, change the color, but whatever. They're giving their guidance with appearance, reaffirming and reassuring the LIE. That is exactly what the sensoric partner is supposed to do. The sensoric partner is supposed to feel confident in the sensoric world. Simple. And lastly, we're going to be talking about extraverted versus introverted. This is the biggest, and ironically the most difficult dichotomy to understand. Extrovert focuses on the subjects and objects themselves. People, event, things. They see individuals as a cause of relationships. Now the introvert focuses instead on relationships and feelings between people. They see relationships as a foundation of value. Extrovert tries to improve themselves to improve their relationship. They believe that the social value comes from personal quality. The introvert, on the other hand, tries to improve the relationship to improve themselves. They believe that the personal worth is derived from how others feel about them. Extrovert will change the relationship if it does not suit them. The introvert will change themselves or others' behaviors to maintain their relationship. The extroverted type thinks that any person can win social favor by self-improvement. Lack of success means personal flaw. The introverts believe that value is earned by forming good relationships. Lack of recognition means the relationships aren't right. The extrovert is good at reorganizing relationships, creating new social systems. Introvert is good at inventing new objects and systems, making novel constructions. The extrovert is naturally proactive. They act out of the need to be valuable, to be recognized. The introvert, on the other hand, he reacts to demands. He acts to avoid damaging relationships. Now let's talk about a dichotomy that can be very helpful and quite easy to see with people. And I'm going to give you also my personal experience with it. The emotivist versus constructivist. And this dichotomy I initially used when trying to type 2-pack. Obviously, we typed 2-pack as an SCE, and this dichotomy was quite important when typing them because it was something that was very obvious with 2-pack. Constructivists are defined and characterized by inert emotions and quick actions. The actions of a constructivist are rapid, they're mechanical. While on the other hand, emotivist easily makes emotional contact. The constructivists are characterized by inner constancy, balance, or even rigidity. The emotivists are, on the other hand, defined by external constancy. Constancy within external relations. Constructivists make contact with people through work, through activity, physicality, touch. They're making contact with other people through manifestations of logic. It's difficult for them to emotionally warm up, but when they do, it lasts a long time. On the other hand, emotivists touch base with people, influence people through sympathy, through sounds, through a voice, through anger, through yelling, right? Through sympathy, favor, praise, stuff like that. So you see an emotional contact. They make contact with others by showing their emotions or sympathy or favor. They inspire and also mobilize the inner world of their partner. They emotionally support, cheer people up. They praise people and they establish connections. Now, when it comes to the external activity, here they warm up slowly and they engage in one task for a long time. And I'm pretty sure it is also said that yes, when the emotivist works on a project in a company, they might not be quick to try to jump around and fuck around with it. They stick to it for a long time, unless again a new position comes along that offers a better benefit, better situation for the emotivist. If emotion or love is shown by emotivists, it is nothing more than a simple act of socialization and good manners. And it's funny, right? What does that mean? Well, it's for a true emotivist, right? Being appreciative, especially the FI creatives. It's being kind, being polite, showing those expressions to people doesn't suddenly mean you give a fuck about them. Doesn't suddenly mean you even like them or care about them. You know, it just doesn't mean much if the emotivist, like the IE or the SE, might express something. It seems heartfelt. It's not that fucking deep in many ways. It's not that deep, and for a constructivist, this shit's foreign. How the fuck can you make emotional contact with someone? It's not that fucking deep. It isn't that deep. With the emotivists, when they actually do feel something genuine, they actually become more reserved. Now, constructivists don't really value acquaintances as much as people's sympathy. They can know every right person in every position with the similar interest and similar business, the right circle of people, the right circle of kind of skills, of interests. That's the constructivist. He touches base with people like that. The emotivist, he could make sympathy with every person. Constructivists are externally closed off. They're actually prone to actual help rather than just yapping and telling you how much they care, how amazing, how srazing. They actually will do less yapping and more doing. Emotivists easily switch emotions. It's easy to figure out for them how to get rid of a guest that they don't want to have, or how to start a very short, kind of more emotionally intimate conversation. A constructivist is literally not capable of this. So I was on a party with a family. It was kind of like a family gathering, whatever party thing. And I was sitting. There were two people, two women. And now this one woman was an ESC. An ESC is a constructivist. The other woman was an IE. Now the IE was drunk. And she was talking on the phone. She was talking on the phone with a person they never met. But this person was related to this other individual, the ESC. But long story short, I'm sitting and I'm listening. And this person, this IE keeps yapping. I love you. You're so amazing. You're an amazing person. How much this person loves you. I keep hearing this they keep telling that this ESC keeps telling me about you. You're so lovely. I like you. Why are you so good? They never met them. They're yapping away. I love you. This is so great. There's just so much emotion in me. I'm fucked up and drunk, but oh my god, this is great. At the same time, while the IE is yapping about love, about this shit, this is peak emotional contact, the ESC is uncomfortable. Okay, the ESC is uncomfortable. And the ESC turns to me and points like kind of because we were like sitting under those things that like protect you from the rain, right? It's like a machine, like whatever the fuck you want to call it. Either way, right? It's like cloth over the shit. You can manipulate how far it can go, right? You get me? Like a whatever the fuck. But she turns to me and she says, she points, yeah, oh wow, you see the range is dropping. You know how much money that cost? Like the whole thing. Like this is actually very unique. Like this mechanism, the way this mechanism works, it's actually this way. So like I'm like listening to this chick. I'm like, what the fuck are you telling me about the mechanism of this motherfucker? Like, you know, I don't particularly give a fuck. Like, what does that mean? I'm confused. I'm just so confused by the whole situation, listening to the whole situation. And it is such a crazy thing, but the difference was huge. Because this IE doesn't give a f. They don't make contact through work. This ESC constantly, whenever they want to talk to me, they talk to me about business. Let's talk about creating our own business here. I'll teach you all the business stuff that you need to know. I'll tell you. I like to talk about business. She just talks about finances, business, and you know. And now many people will be like, whoa, that's what type is that? That's not an ESC. That's an ESC. That's how they make contact with people. And generally the difference is very obvious. Because the fucking IE, the SC ain't gonna make contact with you. They're gonna make contact with a very intense and emotional way. Voice, tonality, sympathy, favor, praise, mobilization, and immobilization, whatever that is. But it's not gonna be, let's talk about work now. Let me get back to you. Let's talk about business. And that's how they connect with people. Business activities, interests, no. So with Tupac it was easy. The guy's yapping. Passion, sympathy, empathy for people. That's how he was making contact with people. I'm gonna vomit. He was making contact with people through sympathy, through favor, through anger, through yelling. And that is the true emotivist. Now, if you don't understand anything said about the dichotomies, let me know down below, because I know it's a jerk off. I know it's a circle jerk. None of this shit even makes any fucking sense. We're trying to do our best to make sense of it. Well, yeah, let's get the comment section going. I'm out, some chows, and I'm bouncing.